From the Fathead Studio in Speedway, Indiana, this is The Skinny.
Oh, there you are, sweet Jesus. Come back to Papa.
The highs and lows, are just can be pretty brutal, that place. But, I think that's what is so fun about it is the challenges.
I saw Will Power smack the wall out of 4 with 10 to go. I mean, he's still going.
Dixon?
No. Connor.
Oh, Connor, yeah.
Yeah, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, Connor, and, well, you got to pick a direction, pal, and I'll stick with you.
Oh, I don't know. You lose track about halfway through.
I go to move when it's full of methanol. Both of them are full of methanol. Pop, big bang. I turn around and the glasses are smoking. And he goes, whoa, good thing you gave me those, right?
I'm Scott Dixon.
I'm Antron Brown.
Hey, I'm Ron Cap.
I'm Connor Daly.
I'm James Hinchcliffe.
I'm Corey Reed.
And I'm Joey Gladstone, and this is The Skinny.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to The Skinny. Ken Stout with you. Rico Elmore sitting alongside, as usual. Michael Young at the controls. The lovely Miss Brittany in here as well, watching us and taking care of our social media. And then 2 standouts have joined us in the studio, Corey Reed and Joey Gladstone. You'll be familiar with Joey Gladstone, one of the riders in the NHRA Pro Stock motorcycle field. Extremely talented, as are both of them. Glad to have them here in the studio. Welcome, gentlemen. It's been a madhouse so far.
Yeah, it's been good. No, it's great to be here. Thank you guys. No, this is awesome. We appreciate the opportunity to come here and hang out with you guys and check out your show.
Yeah, you were sitting there for just a couple of minutes, and we'll have to get some B-roll here to show the fans. But you two guys found common ground right out the bat with some of the bobbleheads.
Oh, bobbleheads.
Oh, yeah.
Bobbleheads. Yeah, bobbleheads. That's what it was.
The Big Lebowski right off the bat caught your eye.
Absolutely. I mean, me and Rico hit it off. I don't know, what is it, Bristol? I think that's when we really first started hanging out, and I didn't really believe him that he knew Tony Stewart, and he was like, no, I seriously know. I'm like, no, you're lying. And
yeah. So then I took him over there. Tony took my money, told him that he knew me, and it's just down the road from there. Everything worked out great.
It's
nice.
It's great stuff. Yeah, he's actually had great stuff to say about you as well. I'm just curious if you give him credit for that first win.
Well, yes, and I know what you're getting at. I had just started wearing Fatheads T-shirts and wearing Fatheads eyewear, and that win happened.
Coincidence? I think not.
We went to the finals in Denver, and Rico was like, "Well, you're not wearing the right T-shirt, and I think you could do something if you wore the right T-shirt." And Sonoma, sure is whatever. Yeah,
the right T-shirt got out.
Yeah, the right T-shirt got out. He hooked me up with some swag and some good eyewear, and we won. And then as soon as I got back from the finish line, when we came back to the starting line, Rico was there, and he's like, "See what happens when you wear the right T-shirt?" And I was like, "You're right, dude. I'm not taking this thing off."
If I could only get a few more that way.
And you won't shave now, thanks to that too.
Oh yeah. That's what this terrible goatee and mustache is from.
And he's never, ever washing that shirt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a Sunday shirt only, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Great stuff, man. Great to have you guys in here. Talk to us. And Corey, a bit of a surprise for me. I didn't realize you were coming to the studio. Great to have you with us. Team owner. And as we were chatting before we started the show here, you said, yeah, I'm the team owner, but man, we're as close to partners as people can be.
Absolutely. We're brothers. We're a family. We travel together. I mean, our wives love each other. Our kids are going to grow up together. I honestly think everything financially that I own is partly his too, because no matter what I did, at the end of the day, everything that I do and stuff, it wouldn't be possible without him too, and vice versa. Like we complement each other. Even in the shop, like he's a really good machinist. I'm the guy that just walks around and like if he needs a hand or like try to figure out some random crap, I'm that guy, I'll just put some stuff together, but he's the yin to my yang type thing, and we travel well, and we get along really well too.
When you're driving or he's driving?
We both drive.
Yeah, we both drive. Yeah.
I tow his camper and he tows the race rig.
Yep.
So, Corey, give us a better scope. You say, in business, give us a scope of what your business is outside of racing.
We do a lot of performance work, like head work, block work. We do selling, just a general shop for a lot of Suzuki work, like bikes and stuff like that. We really don't have a lot of work at the shop. We travel so much and we race a lot. So that's really the big business part of things for us. But at the shop-wise, like we do honing, rod reconditioning, cylinder stuff, re-sleeve blocks, you know, just odds and ends, high performance stuff. And honestly, that's mostly what he does day to day wise. And like I said, I take care of all the odds and ends, random crap, and he focuses on making a couple bucks while we're there. And, you know, we team up on things whenever one of us can't finish it. So.
How'd the relationship start? And don't tell me it was late at night and you needed the money.
It was just before late at night. It was in New Jersey. Well, I met him. Okay, so I met him first of all in SGMP at an all bike race, Man Cup. And I was just getting started with star racing and pro stock stuff. And I was new to everything. And he rolled up, and he was the big dog on the court, you know, in just like realm of racing, and multi-time champion, holds the record, set the record, no bar record that night when I was there. Met him, kind of, hey, how you doing thing. Went on. He came out pro stock racing a year after I started doing it. And then we met in New Jersey, Englishtown. Yeah. He almost smoked a fence with a beer in his hand, riding on a scooter. We were going to party with Leah, actually, out in the back campground.
I'm shocked that you had a beer in your hand on this.
Yeah, and it was from then on, it was on, honestly. Like, I had a fifth wheel camper. Yeah. No longer there, unfortunately.
That was your play. Where did you say, Englishtown?
He said Englishtown, yeah.
So that's where
my whole career started there.
Tell them how that started there, because they. What year was that? Prior to them living.
97, yeah, it's going to go back to 97.
Yeah, we're 91 and 92.
5.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, great. You said, great times. What a great racetrack. Great memories from so many people.
Such a shame what happened, but
it happens though.
Yeah, it does.
What was the year that you started? Were you doing bikes? Was that what
I was doing? So the only thing that I really knew at the time, in terms of drag racing to any sort of degree, was motorcycles, because I had drag raced a motorcycle.
Really?
Believe it or not, I was a much thinner man. So
5 years
ago. What kind of bike did you have?
Well, I started off on a Z1. I had a KZ.
Nice.
I had, when I went to school, I had a KZ 1000. The first one was a 900, then I had a 1000, and then a turbocharged 1000.
Nice.
So I had an absolute passion, for the drag bike stuff, and I was around all that stuff very early on, and absolutely loved it. And went to Englishtown, met the Nat boys, had an opportunity. They said, yeah, the announcer is going to take a break and you can step in and cover for him. And that's exactly what I did. So I sat in, and I knew the motorcycles. I didn't know anything about the timing system at the time, but I knew the bikes. So as they pulled up to the starting line, I was able to talk about the bikes. And I had my son, who was about 3 years old, wandering around the tower, and he had the copy machine on 100, and it was spitting papers out like a banshee. And I looked around behind me. I'm like, yeah, I'm never getting this job. And it was actually Jimmy Knapp. Jimmy Knapp was the guy in the tower at the time. I'm just going to skip on that deal. So we're going to go to commercial break. We'll be back in just a minute.
I'll go do it because my mom said, go check it out. It might be a cool experience. I got there and it threw my hand off the bar, and I was like, holy crap, this thing's a wild animal.
The Skinny is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil, keep that engine alive. General Tire. General Tire delivers. And Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear, hardcore since '04.
Welcome back to The Skinny. Ken Stout with you, Rico Elmore. We have Cory Reed and Joey Gladstone in the studio with us. These two guys have formed quite a relationship, quite a bond, and we were just chatting about them getting their start back in Englishtown, which is super cool. My early announcing days, my first professional gig as an announcer was with the IDBA. So the International Drag Bike Association. Leanne Min at the time was running that organization.
Yeah.
So an absolute passion for motorcycles all along the way.
I'm an IDBL champion, International Drag Bike League champion. It was modeled after the IDBA.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, 20 years afterwards, but I guess it was motorcycle sanctions. Not everybody's familiar with them. It went from Pro Star, drag bike, and then MyRock, and then MyRock turned into IDBL. So MyRock was MIR and Rockingham, Maryland International Raceway in Rockingham, and then that went to IDBL because it changed hands. Now the latest one is XDA, which is Extreme Drag Bike Association. But Yeah, it's funny you said IDVA. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was funny because Lewis Bloom was at Englishtown. I was at Englishtown. Lewis Bloom ended up doing ProStar, and I was doing IDBA.
Really?
So it was pretty cool time. And I have since, unfortunately, have not followed it as intently. I still have a passion for it. Just there's only so much time in the day to cover everything that you cover. But trying to think of some of the Superbike Mike, who was down.
Mike Keat. Yeah. He's Pizza John Mafaro, all those guys.
Yeah.
You're
absolutely.
And you were in New Jersey's the mecca. I mean, you got Ricky Gadsden and all them, and out of Jersey, and then Franco's up from New York and stuff.
Hall.
There's. Yeah, John Hall. Yeah, Antron. Yep. Eddie Craywick.
Yeah.
I mean,
Eddie Craywick used to work in the water box in Englishtown. Yeah. So.
And then didn't he? Eddie met his wife. What? Didn't she work at the track too?
Man, I don't. Maybe.
I think she was the ticket girl or something.
Didn't Eddie tell you that you were too young to race at one point?
Yeah, he did. No,
did he really?
No,
he looked young or something like that.
He told me. Yeah, he told me I was too young to race because I tried to go to Englishtown when I was 16. Or something, you had to be 17 in Jersey because it's Jersey.
Oh, yeah, it's Jersey, yeah.
And he kicked me out. He kicked me off the starting line multiple times because my dad drag raced, alcohol funny cars in like 97, 98. And I would always try and hide in the tow vehicle. And they knew which tow vehicle to look for. So they
knew you would be in there.
Yeah. Drag bikes have been my whole life since I was 15, 16 years old. I didn't have the luxury of growing up with it. I grew up around the car scene. And I didn't really know anything about drag bike racing until I started getting some, magazines and stuff and figuring out that that's the route that I wanted to go. One, because it was cheaper, and two, because I was small enough to do it. And it seemed like it was something I could do. But yeah, it's been my whole life for like 15 years now.
So where did you get started, Cory? I mean, what were you riding first? Where did you go?
Junior dragsters, really, like dirt bikes, junior dragsters when I was real little. And then I got heavy into racing dirt bikes. And then from like 14 till I was 22, I raced a lot of dirt bikes, just, did that. That was my whole life. It's like just same thing for him, just it was on dirt bikes instead. And then I got hurt a bunch, quit, decided I wanted to try to
People get hurt on dirt bikes? This is a rarity.
Man, I broke like 20-something bones.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's bad.
Dude.
Yeah. It lacerated organs and knocked myself out a bunch of times.
Yeah, but you're no quitter.
Nah, no. I don't like to be normally.
So then...
But yeah, so that just generated into I quit racing because I wanted to be healthy and not mess my head up and stuff. And went back to school for 7-8 months. And I was called my mom and I was I kind of hate this. I suck at it. And she's like, well, get a job and this pro stock thing, go hang out with George Bryce and see if you like his school and do this, do that. And honestly, at first I thought I'm over racing. I don't want, I'll go do it because my mom said go check it out. It might be a cool experience. I got there and it threw my hand off the bar and I was like, holy crap, this thing's a wild animal and it's fun to ride and it's not boring. I thought it was gonna be boring compared to racing dirt bikes, and it's definitely not. It's a handful. Most of the time when a good run's happening, it's not, but it can be. Last year was definitely a proven point of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and George Bryce. I mean, the names don't come any bigger than that guy. I'd love to have him on the show. Actually, yeah.
He's all. I mean, that guy's taught me so much. I went and actually lived at their shop for while they were building my first bike, and I helped them, and they taught me so much. Their whole family, everybody at Star Racing they treated me really well.
Yeah, true industry trendsetters for sure. John Myers back in the day, and Dave Schultz, and I mean those guys are legendary names in motorcycle racing.
Angel,
for sure. Angel for sure, absolutely.
Yeah, Dave and John are definitely the two OGs that battled each other forever in the pro stock.
It was vicious.
Yeah, and
for years.
Yeah. I heard a lot of stories about both of them working with Ken Johnson and George Bryce for that 2-3 years I was there, and yeah, it was cool. Because I followed drag racing forever. My parents have been racing. I raced juniors when I was little. I knew the sport, but I didn't focus on the bike deal or the history of it or any of that. So I got a crash course on it. It was real quick and it was cool. And I learned a lot, and it's you respect the legends a lot more when you get to hear their personal details
and know what they've gone through to get there. Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
Good stuff. Joey Gladstone and Cory Reed inside the studio. This guy has been in excess of 200 miles an hour on a motorcycle. We're going to ask him about it when we come back.
He looks down and goes, and my big toe? That was the set him over the top, and then he starts
the big toe was the end.
I mean, that's I can deal with all this other stuff, but my big toe? Cory Reed and Joey Gladstone have joined us here on the set at the Skinny. I'm Ken Stout. That's Rico, Elmore, Michael Young back behind the controls as we pick the brains of two of these young guns here that are having some fun on the NHRA tour, but they have certainly honed their skills before they ever came into the NHRA. And you two guys, unfortunately, had an incident that definitely changed both of your lives there to a degree, but I want to go back. I believe it was April 8th that you were thrown off a Pro Mod bike at over 200 miles an hour, and then was it 6 months later that you guys crashed? I mean, they happened that closely together?
It was a wild year.
Yeah.
It was a rough year.
I mean, I want to follow up on that too, because after the Pro Mod bike crash, injuries included broken ribs, a broken collarbone, a broken shoulder blade, bruised lung, and multiple abrasions, of course. I mean, this isn't a little moment.
No, you nailed it. I mean, you'd see it's on camera. You can see my arm. You know, it's still, that's part of it, and then my shoulder. Like, that's, you can see how ugly that is. My mic's in the way.
So is that the road rash?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from the road rash.
I think a lot of people underestimate how violent road rash is, and a lot of times causes really, really a lot more problems.
It can be. It honestly, the broken bones were easy. Like you said, it was April 8th. I was riding a grudge bike. I went down at 208 miles an hour, and right away I broke a bunch of bones. But the lasting effect was the road rash. I mean, this road rash took about a year to heal totally, and some of it. This looks worse than it is. That wasn't that deep. This on my shoulder, my leathers failed right at the seam. So right at the stitch line here, they failed for some reason. I don't know, but I just so happened to be on the roughest shutdown area in the country, which is Darlington Dragway. And it's just really, really rough aggregate in the shutdown area, and you can feel every bit of it when you're sliding on it. It was like me and Cory always joke about it, because I said it at the end of it, but it's like getting cheese grated. Like it literally felt like a coarse cheese grater on you, and you can't stop it. And by the time it starts hurting, like when I went down on my shoulder and it started, by the time that it got hot from the friction, it already took 3/8 of an inch of meat off me. And then you roll over and wait till this side gets hot, and then by the time that hurts, it's already done. And then it's the road rash, I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. Broken bones were nothing.
So during the slide, you feel it getting hot. Try to reposition yourself through it.
Yeah. The first thing that went through my head when I went down was like, you just crashed. And I just bought the motorcycle too. It was the biggest purchase I ever made, and I was like, oh man, you just crashed it. It's like, all right. And then I could feel my shoulder starting to get hot. I knew I was wearing down on it, so I went to my back, and then I could feel my shoulder blades getting hot. So then I decided, there's no really good way to go about crashing at that speed. Some people say, maybe tuck your arms in or something, but at that point, I mean, you're just waiting for it to stop. It's tough to think about, what to do, what evasive action to do. But so I started to roll over, and then as soon as I rolled over, I put my hands out, my palms caught, ripped my gloves off, and took my palms down to nothing. And just by the time it was over, I mean, I all I wanted to do was stand up and make sure that I was okay. I wanted to see. I was like damage control at that point. Like how bad am I messed up? Did I just mess myself up out of an NHRA career, So I stood up to assess the damage, like, all right, you're not paralyzed, but my shoulder was like stuck like this. And I was like, oh man, like I know what that is. That's broken collarbone. And then I start looking down, and my boots around my knee and my leathers are just red, and I look at my shoulder and there's just nothing there, and like, this is bad. This is a hospital trip for sure. Like, you always think like maybe I could, just get away. I could just, patch it up a little bit and I'll be all right. But this one was like, there was
like he got shot by a shotgun. Yeah. When he got down there. Like I was like the second or third person there, and the leathers on it were so frayed and like shredded apart. It wasn't worn down, shredded. It looked like it was blown apart.
It was nasty.
And his shoulder was just black and bloody.
My big toe was like hanging off.
He looks down and goes, "And my big toe." Like
Yeah.
that was like the set him over the top, you know. And then he starts
The
getting,
big toe was the
I
end.
mean, that's I can deal with all
And
this other
my
stuff,
big
but my
toe?
big toe.
and I was like, oh,
But
man.
at that time, I was feeling really dumb because, you know, I mean, grudge racing for when most people that know what grudge racing is, but it's racing for money with the clocks off, and we had a really bad fast nitrous bike, and we were making money with it and beating people and winning shootouts and stuff, and it seemed like it was worth it at the time, but as soon as you crash one of them things and you know I've been waiting my whole life for the NHRA opportunity, and we're in the middle of the season or the beginning of the season, and you crash, first thing goes to your mind is like, oh my God, like did I just mess this up? Did I mess this opportunity up that I've been working so hard for? And you know, yeah, you're bummed about the $50,000 motorcycle you just wrecked, but you know, money, you can make more money. It's hard to make more opportunities sometimes, but you know, that's what's going through my mind. You know, how long, if this opportunity does come back, how long is it going to be till I get back? I got to get back, and now you're assessing the damage and stuff like that. Also, the hospital bills go through your mind too. You know, I just spent, you know, like, this, as soon as the ambulance door shut, you know, it's $10,000 and,
Oh yeah.
you know, but so all that stuff's going through your mind, but I'm glad I learned from it. I'm glad I got it out of the way, and I'm done riding the street bike stuff for now, and that same thing could happen on a
For
pro
now.
stock bike.
For
yeah.
now.
Yeah. Well,
For now.
no, if my wife sees this, I'm done forever, baby. I promise. But no, the same thing could happen on a pro stock bike. But if it does happen on a pro stock bike, at least I'm doing it
For a reason you want.
for a reason that for a reason that fulfills me. Not everybody wants to ride pro stock. Not everybody wants to have the career doing the pro stock thing, but it's my goal, and you know, that's where I want to be. So that's what I'm going to concentrate on from now on.
So did I read that the leathers you happen to be wearing that particular time were a little thinner than what you would typically wear, say, an NHRA Pro Stock bike?
No, that's it, not typical, not thinner than a pro stock bike set of leathers. They're actually considered pro stock leathers.
Okay.
I specifically asked for the manufacturer to make those leathers thinner for weight purposes, because we're guys and we're dumb. And you know, you go 7, 8, 9 years without a crash, you know, and I've crashed a couple times on the drag strip, but you go 7, 8, 9 years without a crash, and you start to forget that crashing really sucks, and you need that protection when you least expect it. I'll never wear thin leathers again. I can tell you that. It was a hard lesson to learn, and I'm still learning from it every day. You know, these scars wake me up in the middle of the night itching, and you know, every time I lift my shoulder up, it's cracking and popping, and it was a pretty gruesome reminder to wear the right stuff. But if younger riders can learn from my stupid mistakes, then that's fine. I can live with that, you know.
So that's the first wreck that we talked about. 6 months later, they had another one. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Being in Top Gun or something, because I look over and like there's heat waves and everything, and like my visor flowing off, my legs hurting. I'm like, I flop back on my back, I look over, and I'm like, see Joey just hauling butt back up the.
The Skinny is brought to you by Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil, keep that engine alive. Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear, hardcore since '04. Toyota, let's go places. And General Tire. General Tire delivers.
Welcome back to the Skinny. Once again, Joey Gladstone sitting alongside team owner Cory Reed as they are in town doing some racing. Great to have them come in here to the studio and share some of the stories with us. Rico Elmore, of course, sitting alongside and has really developed that relationship as he's out on the road with the Trackside store. So we talked about your initial Pro Mod wreck where you caused a lot of damage, and then 6 months later, you guys are racing each other and you get together. Tell us a story, man. What happened there?
Yeah, it was a great day, honestly. We woke up, we were happy, like, the ladder was good. We knew we were racing each other probably second round if everything went first round. And I was pumped up. I was like, sweet, we're going to the finals today. We're going to win a race. Like, you know, doesn't matter that we got to race each other. I was been positive. He was positive. We go into it. We race. You know, we go up there. We run each other. I had an 060, I had an 030 light. You know, we're decently close off that. We both ran like 696, I think, 198 mile an hour, somewhere in there. And identical runs, really. You know, super close. It was a couple thou at the finish line. There's some wind. There was a bump I hit going through there. unsettled the bike and it just pulled me. Like, I don't even know, like, it's hard to explain. Like, it just felt like someone was pushing you, you know? Like,
it looked like something broke. It went dead right.
Man, and we haven't found a dang thing on the bike that's been broke either,
Right.
which is crazy. So,
Yeah.
but I think what happened really is, like, I hit that bump, and it just, when it unsettled that bike and it came back down and set, that tire's so big and wide that it just kind of set it off on an angle, and it just steered me that way. And you're going that so fast, the little front tire, you can't steer with the dang thing. So I'm sitting out there, I'm leaning, got my leg out trying to catch air. I'm pushing into my left leg as hard as I physically can. Like, I weigh 150 pounds. I had all my weight on that peg, and it did not care. And every time I turned the bars and go, shh, and I could feel the front end wash out. And I was like, well, not time to turn the steering wheel yet. And then I could see him. I was like, all right, he's close to me. Like, I can't go into his lane. I was like, hopefully he's on the brakes hard, and hopefully he sees me drifting towards him. And, like, one thing we practice, like every racer probably, you stay focused on the task at hand. Don't look around because you're gonna go that way, all that type of stuff. And I remember seeing out of the peripheral of my vision, like, I was like, I think I'm in front of him, and then just went quiet, like, and I was like, oh no, I have zero control now. And my leg popped, it broke my leg right away. Like, the bike turned, I stick my leg out, it snaps underneath. And I'm like, now I'm just hanging on, looking at the wall, like, flying this way. And I'm like, oh, man, I got to let go of this thing at some point. And I didn't realize, like, I flew over him or any of that crazy stuff. I was just like, oh, and then just mollywopped you, ragdolled, you have just powerless, you know, like, just imagine a giant picking you up and just throwing you. You know, that's what you got. Like, everything that I tried to do, you know, it didn't do a dang thing.
Yeah, like that damage control thing.
It just didn't make, you know, it just didn't work. Like, no matter what happened, how it happened, like, and it was the perfect storm overall, too. Like, we were really close together. Like, people come into other people's lanes all the time in our sport. It's just, how often does it happen when you have a killer run next to somebody that has a good run, and you guys are super evenly.
It's the first time it's ever happened.
Yeah, it's just wild. So
it just so happened to happen to us.
And then I got done tumbling around and look over. It's like, told him, I was like, it's like being in Top Gun or something, because I look over and, like, there's heat waves and everything, and, like, my visor flowing off, my legs hurting. I'm like, I flop back on my back, I look over, and I'm like, see Joey just hauling butt back up the track, like, fully suited, you know, he's running, madhouse running, like he's trying to save someone, you know. He comes up crying and pissed off and, like, frustrated. I'm sorry I hit you. And I'm like, what do you mean you sorry? I hit you. I came to your lane. Like, he's like, no, dude, that was crazy. Oh my God, your bars went over my head. Like, it just, you know, the whole thing. And the doctors are there resetting my bone on the track, and he's there, like, take his leathers off. He's hot, you know, like, help him, get him water, do this, do that. And he's, like, trying to, because he just crashed, you know, he knows everything that I'm feeling. He just felt. So he's, like, freaking out. He's like, you know, come on, help the guy. And they're like, no, you calm down, sir, you know, like, type of thing.
I know.
And he's freaking out.
You want to kill him.
And I'm sitting there
It's
in
the right
pain.
advice, but you want to kill him at the time.
For sure. And I'm sitting there in pain, and I'm just like, man, this sucks. This is bad. Like, my leg was just literally flopped over, so I knew right away when I looked at it. I was like, yeah, that's multiple surgeries. That's a big problem. Bones sticking out and stuff. And
So we were talking earlier, how many surgeries?
I had 7 surgeries on my leg.
Wow.
I'm at 10 now total, though. So 10 for my body, 7 on my ankle, leg, whatever. I broke a bunch of bones and stuff when it came out and whatnot. But yeah, I'm in the, honestly, it's not even like a fairy tale story or a lie or a fishing story or anything like that. Like, we're in the ambulance trying to go. He's trying to go with me, and he's, like, freaking out, like, you know, like, he's calling my mom, my wife, everybody, letting everyone know. And he looks at me and goes, dude, they're not going to let me ride with you. What are you going to do? I'm like, go pack up or go win the race. One of the two. Like, there's only 2 things to do here. I'm going to the hospital. I'm getting surgery. You ain't going to come hang out with me. You're not going to come sit in my room and give me flowers and make me feel better. No, like, just leave, you know? Yeah. And he's like, you could tell, like, he was like, no, but he's like, well, that makes sense. So I'm going to leave. And then, unfortunately, I mean, he should have won the race. You know, the kill switch came out probably from when he jumped off the bike to come check on me. But I always say, like,
I'm so happy it didn't happen.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so happy.
It would have sucked. Like, I lost in Vegas. After he crashed, the next race for us was Vegas. I went to the finals and I lost. And I was happy I lost because my best friend wasn't with me. Somebody I've been working for this. It wouldn't have felt right, you know? And honestly, it kind of is like one of those things, like the universe had something to do with some things at some point in life. And it didn't let me win that race and didn't let him win that race because we weren't together and to properly be like, you know, to have it and celebrate it and do all that type of stuff. So.
And it was trying not to let you when you're at Sonoma.
Yeah.
I was sitting up there on the line. I'm like, oh man, come on.
Yeah.
Like you're turning it over, trying to get it.
Man, that was.
Oh, in the first round?
Yeah, that made no sense to us. We walked up, you know, the bike's good. We struggled with it pretty much all qualifying, and we finally got it happy, and we knocked one out of the park, go to number 3, and we're like, all right, cool. Like, we'll go to first round, pretty confident. And it's just like, uh-oh, it ain't running. Uh-oh. And he shuts it off, and me and Michael Phillips are like, oh, no, it's not going to start again. Now, you know, we're like, we're screwed. And luckily, he looks in there, and I look where he's looking, and I seen a wire, and he's like, that wire's touching. I was like, it is touching. I went in there and started shaking crap, and we fired it back up, and it ran, and it won the race.
So God. Back to the accident. Mm-hmm. You said before that accident had happened, you were with the chaplain?
Yeah, it was crazy, man. We were doing our pray deal, and everybody's wishing for safety and all this stuff, you know, which I was, in the regard, I was definitely safe for what happened, so thankful for that. But we're going second round, going to semis, and Eddie looks up and goes, you know, one of you guys going to semifinals today. It's a good day for you guys. Good job. Like, and Joey goes, smart. Well, at least, you know, unless we crash into each other.
Yeah.
And it's so, like, felt like a movie. Like, especially after you think about that stuff, it's like that stuff that you don't make up, and it doesn't happen all the time or to everyone type thing. So it's, you know, crazy experience, wild experience. It sucked at the time. It was painful. It's painful now, but it's something I wouldn't trade for the world. Like, all of our experiences are top notch. They're awesome. They're wild. They're different. We travel the country almost 6 or 7 months out of the year together. Like, you know, we get to see a lot of cool things, do a lot of go a lot of places. Like, we went to a family reunion of mine. He went with me. You know, first time I had a family reunion in my family that I've been to, and he went into Montana because we're between races, and what's the point of driving all the way back across the country? And he's part of my family too. Like, I consider for sure, and my parents do as well. So,
but that's pretty wild that's how that works.
Yeah,
it's not a game for the meek, that is for sure. Plenty more to come from these two studs when we come back.
I think they're probably happy with the first one.
A couple more times.
If we keep doing it,
Well, it was back to back against Eddie both times.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me? What are the chances?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Skinny. Ken Stout, Rico Elmore here, having a great conversation with two of the best when it comes to NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle. Of course, team owner Cory Reed, Joey Gladstone has joined us as well, and just heard a bit of that incident that you guys had when you crashed into each other. Let's shift gears here a little bit. One of the best in the country, certainly, to climb aboard a motorcycle, goes some 68 races, and the NHRA still had not won a Wally, was hungry for it, but race 69, the magic finally happened.
That's the first time I heard that stat. I didn't know. It took me 68 races.
That's awesome.
Jesus.
And then not only that, you do it with Eddie Krawick sitting alongside of all people,
yeah, the
right?
guy that would throw you out.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess we should tell the fans at home that it's a Vance and Hines prepared. Do you say? I don't know if prepared's a proper term, but
no. We'll tell you everything that Vance and Hines has done to it. They built the chassis. Ryan Schnitz did the wiring harness. It's the same bike that Eddie and Angel have, and we own the motors. I know there's a lot of misconceptions with motor leasing and things like that, and motor buying and stuff within the pro categories. The way that the Vance and Hines deal works is you purchase the motors, and you pay them to keep them fresh, keep them, and if there's an update, whether it be a performance update or just a durability update, anything like that, you pay for that. And all parts have a timeline. So crankshafts have a timeline, pistons, rods, transmission parts, shafts, valve springs, valves, everything has a timeline. So that kind of gets worked into the overall deal. And it's a really good program they got going. The Vance and Hines deal. They've honed it over the past they've been doing it for so long, decades. And it's a good deal. And a lot of times if you listen to their advice, you can hit the ground running, with their stuff. And clearly they give you the horsepower to win. You just got to use it correctly.
Yeah. So are they happy for you when you beat them?
I think they're probably happy with the first one.
A couple more times.
If we keep doing it.
Well, it was back to back against Eddie both times. I mean, are you kidding me? What are the chances?
Yeah.
Eddie's going to be over there in the production line. He's like, yeah, they kind of.
That head needs these cams, by the way.
Well, no, I don't know. I think that they're happy to see their product because they're competing with another 4-valve cylinder head company out there. I think they're happy to see their product doing well. Eddie and I go way back. We grew up in the same kind of era of super sport racing and stuff like that. So he helped me get out here. So I think that he's happy for us. I think Drew's happy for us, and we don't mind putting their sticker on our bike and representing their company and showing that their engines can go fast. It's a good working relationship that we got going on right now.
Yeah, they treat us right.
Yeah,
they really do.
So the real question is, how do you feel about Indy?
I feel like we're on track to do the same thing we did last weekend. It's a little bit cooler here, just a little tiny bit, but it ain't nothing but a small tune-up change. I mean, I don't think we're not going to touch it. We're going to go out there, go A to B, and try and duplicate the same thing that we did in. Did I say Bristol? Topeka. Yeah, Topeka. Yeah, it was just but I'm not used to saying Topeka. It's the first time back there in a while. But we're going to try and do the same thing we did in Topeka, and
last 4 races.
Yeah, last 4 races. Yeah, really. Yeah,
keep doing that. I'm fine with that.
So our confidence is up. It's a big race, but in my mind, it's just another race with 2 more qualifiers added onto it. It's at the end of the day, it's still going to be 16 bikes going at it, and I think our chances are just as good as the last 4 finals that we were in.
Of course, Rico, making reference to the U.S. Nationals, which will happen here in Indianapolis this weekend. Largest drag race in the country each and every year. Certainly wish you guys the best of luck there. But if I go back to Sonoma, how important was that day? How cool was it to finally stand on top of the mountain?
That day, the only time I ever felt like that, and I apologize if people think this is corny, but the only time I ever had that similar type of nervous, weird, like what just happened feeling was the day that I married my wife. Right before we got married, you got a lot of emotions going through. Like, this is a big deal. Like, is this the right thing to do? Yes, obviously it's the right thing to do. This, that, and third. And then the day my daughter was born, that nervous, crazy, we're in for it now kind of feeling. Is she going to be all right? Is my wife going to be all right? That kind of, like, that crazy adrenaline kind of feeling. That's what I felt at the end of it. And it took a while for me to come down off of that high. Like, it was it was only as a high that you can only imagine of waiting for 20 years and then finally getting it.
68 races, as he said.
Yeah, 68 races. I had no idea it was 69th.
That much. You're 69th, and then you're 70th.
I'm over here like dividing that by 16 and like seeing how many years I've been after that.
Square root of that.
Yeah, I'm like, how many years? How much money have we spent trying to chase that? And,
too much.
But no, it makes that all worth it. Like it makes that 68 races seem like it was just no big deal, even though we've got hospital bills to show for it, strain on relationships.
Moved to 3 different states.
Been through engine builders, tuners, you name it. But it makes that journey all worth it. And to do it with my buddy here, and to do it kind of in the style that we're doing it right now, I think it's.
I love it.
I think it's. I love it too.
Yeah,
I love it.
Rebels
awesome.
Doing it their own way. What's it like to ride a Pro Stock motorcycle? I have no idea, but we're going to ask this guy when we come back.
Those screw ups and trying to chase that perfection. That's what Pro Stock's about to me is chasing perfection. It's not about the rush of speed.
The Skinny is brought to you by General Tire. General Tire delivers. Toyota. Let's go places. Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive. and Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear, hardcore since '04.
Welcome back to the Skinny. Once again, we have Joey Gladstone sitting alongside Cory Reed, his team owner, sitting beside him. A lot of great stories. These guys have been through the thick and thin of it for sure. Want to ask him what it's like to ride one of these bikes, because he's actually said, I mean, we're talking about one of the best in the country at riding a drag bike. And when he says these things are really difficult to ride, I want to know what that means coming from somebody like you.
Yeah, so pro stock motorcycles are, I wouldn't say they're physically demanding to ride. This is just my opinion. I've made hundreds of laps on them, and we've had some success with it. But I've had to learn a few things from a few different people to kind of try and perfect the style to get some ET out of these bikes. But like I said, they don't take a lot of physical strength. It's more about timing and precision, in my opinion. There's two main ways to ride them. You'll see some people laying down on the gas tank when they're, right before they let go of the clutch lever. They're locked in. And then other people like me, Matt, Cory, Chip Ellis,
Junior.
That's
a good example.
Yeah, they're more of a little bit upright, and then as soon as they drop the hammer, they drop the clutch lever. Their head kind of dips down, and it's all in one precise time movement. It's called a ram, and
George Bryce stuff.
Yeah, and some people do it a lot more than others, and if you do it just right, it's almost you can stay ahead, you can stay with the motorcycle or ahead of the motorcycle, like we like to call it. Whereas you can imagine getting behind the motorcycle is from when you let go of the clutch lever. If you just put it on two-step and let go, I don't care how strong your grip is, you're going to see on the video it's going to pull you back. Your whole body's going to move back, your head's going to whip back. And by the time that you realize that it's pulling you like that, it's too late. The chassis is upset. The run, you've now taken it from what could have been a 680 to a 692, 693, just because of what you did right there, let alone what you're going to mess up the rest of the way. So if you can time it correctly, stay with the motorcycle, stay ahead of it, then the next thing you got to do, you got to hit your shift points perfectly. And as you're going down the racetrack, nice and gently, smoothly get up onto the second seat, get aerodynamic, and continue to hit your shift points while you're thinking about that and doing that. And then maybe a crosswind will come and kick you because it's a full fairing motorcycle that catches the wind. Maybe a crosswind will come. You never know what's going to happen out there. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you might start spinning the tire, you might hit a bump. You got to be prepared for all those things. So to get the motorcycle, a pro stock motorcycle is only going to give you a finite amount of ET to get out of it with the setup that you give it, meaning clutch-wise, timing-wise, fueling, the amount of power that you have. And let's say that perfect number in a perfect world is a 668, right? Well, you start messing that up with your riding, your tune-up, and everything else that you do from Jump Street, So it's about, mitigating, minimizing those screw-ups and trying to chase that perfection. That's what pro stock's about to me, is chasing perfection. It's not about the rush of speed. Yeah, they accelerate fast, but once you're used to it, it's that adrenaline kind of goes away. But if you can chase those if you can put everything together and try and make as close to a perfect run as you can, which is impossible to do, you can't make a perfect run. But that's what it's about. Whereas some of the other motorcycles that I've ridden before is you can kind of get away with a little more bullish moves. You can short shift them or over rev them, and it doesn't seem to affect the ET as much. They got big power, small tires. They're a little more forgiving in that aspect. Ones like the other ones are like riding a bull. Pro stock's like doing a ballet, in my opinion. It's all about precision.
The thing about it is, and you talked about the, going through the progression and all the events leading up to crossing the finish line. It's interesting. You said get up on the second seat. Mm-hmm. We'll have to show some in the B-roll where what you're talking about, the notch up on that, because it's kind of almost like you guys are in a jockey position. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? As you get down past half track and stuff. But a lot of people, as soon as the nitro cars stop running or it goes to pro stock car or pro stock bike, they leave the stands and go do whatever, right? Which for each his own. but you're not going to see any better racing in pro stock bike and in pro stock car.
Yeah, it's tight.
I mean, it is, and it's exactly what you just went through. It's the exact progression, and it's all about you have to, I mean, the precision of hitting all those points in the tree, how important the tree is. You're not going to overpower you having a bad light.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because it's all so tight, it's never going to come back, right? So it's wild, and it's something that people, if they watched it a little bit more and they're there, I mean, you would be like, okay, wow, these guys are unbelievable.
Field cars are so spectacular, though. It's hard to
Yeah.
follow that up.
It is.
It's such a
Could
scene.
you guys get streamers or something?
yeah, right? Some flags. Or
Like Will,
Roman candles going off your back while you're on his
like Nitro Mikey has the
Sparks and-
sparks and stuff shooting out of the back.
Yeah, we should take the wheels off and just run titanium pads on the wheels.
Yeah.
Just no wheelie bars would be entertaining enough.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so you certainly understand that end of the game. Speaking of bars, for the fans at home, if you're not familiar with it, of course, they have wheelie bars on this style of racing. Very important, too, that your lineup is exactly where you want to go, because that thing immediately becomes a tripod. That front wheel's not doing you any good.
Yeah. You have to, the person who's lining you up has to do a good job. Your chassis has to be set up right. Your bars have to be straight. And also, as a rider, you've got to be holding that thing square. If you actually go and sit on one of these bikes and you take, and you measure the wheelie bar wheels, you got on like a flat pad, that rider, all you got to be is an 1/8 inch off center, and man, your one wheelie bar wheel is lower
Half
than the other.
inch,
Yeah,
It's
And it's going to steer you
it's
that way.
substantial. As soon as it hits, it's gonna stand you up and push, and so it's all, you have to be square, and you have to, everything has to be square on the bike. When you leave, you have to, when you go down with the motorcycle, you can't drop to one side. Some riders get in a bad habit of when they do ram, they feel like let's say the bike goes, they have a bad tire or something, or the bike's not going straight, and the bike will dart left a couple times, and they'll start dipping down to the right, to try and counteract that. And then once they find the problem, they've already done a pass like that 10 times, and it's becoming muscle memory. And you'll notice they'll kind of throw it, and even though the bike's going straight, they'll dip their head off to the right. And that's a big thing as far as riding motorcycles correctly. You have to avoid bad habits and bad muscle memory. And you, like, when we try and teach up and coming guys and girls when they're riding these things, if we see them doing something one time's okay, but if they continue to do something that's not right, you got to nip it in the butt, because it won't stop.
Yeah, and we clearly understand, based on Cory's description of what happened between you two, once that thing gets going one direction or the other, it's all but impossible to steer it.
Yeah, they don't act like actual motorcycles.
Yeah, you can't lean them. They're only 2 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
That's where ground clearance is. So you can't lean the dang thing. If not, you frame it, and then you're really out of control.
Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Certainly glad these guys took the time out of their extremely busy weekend to come in here. Of course, by the time you see this, the U.S. Nationals will be in the books, so make sure you keep an eye on them. Check out how things are going for them. But Cory Reed, Joey Gladstone, thanks a lot, guys, man. Really appreciate you coming in here. Great stuff as well. Great stories.
Absolutely. It was a great time. Thank you, guys.
The skinny on those two guys. Hope you enjoyed the show.